Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Live.
A sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day you called me up, you told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel.
What is up?
Please tell me your love is real.
Ed M is in the house. Galen Heathcote, what's happening? James Hook. Joseph Cascarino, what do you say, brother? Bruce Millard, Ronald, Pilar, what's up, man? Buenos noches. Absolutely, brother. Man, we got a great show for you tonight. Bruce Millard's in the house. Tammy Keeman, Kevin Carpenter. Mike Heber, what's up? Jamie Johnson.
Smile. Your sense of humor makes it all worthwhile. Don't make me wait. It's not a funny game.
Michael Duarte, how are you? Eric Albright.
Please tell me I love
Conway
is real. You make me
yeah, we got a great crew in the house. Johnny Cox here. Jimmy Reese, David Schaufelmeyer. How's everybody doing tonight? Man, we got a big old show for you. Oh, how are you, Paul? Tom Cosner. St. Press. Hello, hello, hello. Man, we got a big old show for you tonight. Coming up here on the eve of SummerSlam 2023, we will be launching our big tournament on Sunday out of Anchor Marine at 6 a.m. sharp. So all you guys who entered, man, we got a big field. We got over 120 boats right now. We're going to get some more, I'm sure, tomorrow. So you got a day and 2 days actually to enter. You can enter all the way up through Saturday. But you got to be entered. You got to be buying the stuff that's in stock here at the shop. And it's a $250 buy-in. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be a huge event. It's going to be a great event. We are all geared up. We've got, man, we got to pay out over $8,000 in cash is going out of here. We got the tackle toss we're getting ready for. We're going to do that and just announced today, Shimano is kicking in a bunch of combos, some real nice high-end combos that we're going to raffle off, free raffle. So every boat that shows up is going to get 2 tickets, and you're going to have a chance at winning a really nice combo. Of course, it's probably going to be the G. Loomis and Shimano combos, but I'm telling you, on the higher end. So you're you know, everybody's going to have a shot at winning that stuff. Free to you for entering the tournament. So that's a really big bonus. It's several rod and reel combos. So we don't know exactly what they are. Patrick, our tournament director, will be bringing all that stuff in to the event, and we'll know, I guess, like when you know.
So Mike, you said that 6 o'clock is blast off, right?
Yeah.
So what time can they start checking in?
So we're going to be there, set with the tent set up around 4 a.m. So you guys can get there between 4 o'clock, and you probably want to be in the water no later than 5:30 and be ready to roll. You got to come up to the tent. You got to pull your number. You got to draw your number there, and you can pay your option pots. We have a $10 lunker option pot, and we also have a $20 option pot that is 100. Both of them are 100% payout. So bring some cash with you if you want to get involved. You can do it right there at the sign in. It's going to take just a minute for you to step up, tell us your name. We'll check you in, draw your number, pay your fee. We'll give you the 2 tickets for the drawing, and off you go. and get back in your boat and ready to roll, because it's a big event. We're going to have 5 flights at least.
Probably 6.
Yeah, I think we're at 5 right now, but it could be 6 flights.
10-minute spacing.
10 minute spacing on the way out, and 10 minute spacing for your way in on the way in.
The way I do that launch in the morning, Mike, is I set my internal clock and I trickle them out. So by the time I get through first flight,
10 minutes is up.
It's a slow start on the second flight. And it's kind of like a constant roll, but it's what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pace it out so everybody gets the same advantage time-wise. I don't want to blast everybody off and then have 6th flight get an extra hour of fishing time, right? Because it takes a minute to blast everybody off in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And, if you're in late flight, don't be in a hurry. Power pole down along the bank there and take a quick little siesta. Get yourself a couple winks in.
Yeah.
Mike, about these drawings.
Yeah.
Mike and cameraman Nick, you'll find this interesting. Patrick and I have been talking about every year we do some little bags we hand out to the boats with stickers and some baits, and they're cool. But I kind of said, let's do something a little
next level.
Let's elevate it. In other words, I need you to reach into your pocket a little more. So we're going to do 6 of what I call high-end items. Vanfords, Zodius, $200 to $300 pieces. And then we're going to do 3 or 4 what I call mid-range stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to be in that $100 range.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do a couple of Power Pro and so what we're going to do is we're going to give you 2 tickets per boat, or 1 ticket. Let's put it this way, 1 ticket per person. So, and we won't do any drawings while you're all trying to pull your boats and stuff. We'll do it, at the end.
Yeah, at the end, because you want to be there for tackle toss.
And
this is not a tournament you want to wet track at.
No wet tracking. Even if you break 2 rods, you don't catch anything, you get a hook in your hand.
Hang around.
Come in with a smile on.
Yeah.
Put her on a trailer.
We have a great
Take her around back. Come on back out front.
Yeah, we have a great time at the weigh-in, man. It's a blast.
Slide on over to the Naughty Goose. Get yourself a cold pop or 2, and then hang out until we get to the end. Because at the end, we party a little bit. We're going to give out all that aforementioned stuff. And
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We're going to throw a bunch of tackle and product in the air.
Yep.
And we're going to give out a bunch of money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big payout.
Mike and I are going in the lab tomorrow. We're gonna get the payout worked up.
Yep.
It's somewhere just south of $1 million total payout. But anyways, be there. Registration opens at 4. Boat 1 goes at 6 a.m. pronto sharp, and can't wait to see y'all.
Absolutely.
The opening, you can still sign up.
Yeah,
you can still sign up.
Yeah.
Give us a call up until 4 o'clock on Saturday.
We'll bring your stuff down.
We got you.
Yep.
We got you. And if you absolutely positively straggle in at the last second on Sunday and you don't mind waiting until we blast everybody off, we'll get you in then too.
Yep.
Everybody fishes.
All right. So there you have it. SummerSlam 2023, the eve of the big event. Awesome tournament.
Hey, before we move on, we got to come up with some predictions here.
Yeah.
Well, I've already done my work on that.
Uh-oh.
I've consulted with the lunar phase. I've been tracking the low pressure system that's coming in Monday.
Yeah.
So what we got is we have stable weather from now until tournament blast off.
Yeah.
We have a low tide in the morning, which means really good opportunity.
First thing out.
First thing.
Yep.
Low light, perfect tide.
Yep.
Probably going to be a little higher than normal because it's a spring tide. The winds are favorable, and there's a low pressure building in the afternoon. So All I can say is the forecast is for 100% chance of thunderous hook sets and heavy weigh-in bags.
I like it.
Yeah, I think I don't know. We always have a big bag weighed in our tournaments, almost every single one, and I think it's just going to be a blowout event. I think the fish are ready to go. It's been tough down there for a very long period of time. The clock is against the fish, so they have to do something.
I'm going to write them up.
And the weather is definitely getting right. And my prediction,
give me a 5 fish limit
for first place is going to be 23.47.
Okay, Nick.
I'm saying first place. I'm going with last year's total, 24.11.
Ah,
pretty good.
Yep.
And then I'm going to come in a little bit below both of you.
Okay.
I'm going to come in at 22.89.
22.89.
Nice.
Now, here's the other
all
thing.
of which are pretty respectable 5 fish bags.
Whoever wins the tournament has to come on Tackle Shop Live on Thursday next week. So when you win the tournament, we will send you a link and we'll talk to you. We'll get a hold of you and we'll get you signed up, and you'll come in and you're going to spend a little bit of time with us, and you're going to explain how you did it, how you won the tournament. What was your technique? What was the deal? What made you to be the king of the SummerSlam 2023? That's what we're going to talk about. So get ready for that also. So anyway, there you have it. This Sunday is SummerSlam. Get yourself fired up for it. We're looking forward to it. We hope we're thrilled to see you guys there. We're excited about it. It's a lot of fun. And anybody who is new to this game, do not worry. We will hold your hand through the whole event. We have all of our staff there they know that they're going to answer questions, and they know that they're going to dial you in and get you guys going. So you don't have to worry about it, because we got a lot of new first timers, which is a beautiful thing. And you'll enjoy it as much as anything. It's exciting, and we will absolutely walk you through the whole thing.
So another thing that's going on down on the Chesapeake this weekend is high school championship. Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and I think New Jersey. And what's interesting there is Go-Go Gomez, who collects a lot of the product that you all donate for the youth. He's been working for a couple days now building tackle packs for all these kids, and putting together rod combos that you all have donated. And we have another nice pile in here now, and he's going to swing in, pick it up on his way down to the flats, because he's fishing SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to use a lot of that tackle for this program. So that's pretty cool that he's doing that.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
And another thing that's interesting is a couple of those high school teams are going to fish SummerSlam. So don't be alarmed if you look out there and you see a couple boats with 3 people in it. The third person is the boat captain, because the high school students are not allowed to run the boats.
Yep.
They make all their own decisions. They have full decision-making power, but the captain drives them around and makes sure they're safe so that they can compete. And I think it's wonderful that people donate their time to do that. So we're going to have a couple high school teams in.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have one of our very long-time customers who does not want me to mention his name, who actually did a buy-in for the tournament. And he is going to give his entry to the winner of the high school championship.
Nice.
And he's going to hand them what amounts to a paid entry into SummerSlam. And then to really jack the cool factor up, all the products that he bought to gain his entry, he is going to donate to all those high school kids. So
wow,
this gentleman is very big on the youth fishing.
Does not get much better than that.
Doesn't.
I mean,
we see this all the time, with the kids, and how everybody steps up to the plate. When Everybody, they just get involved. A lot of people get involved, and there's it's just amazing to me how awesome that is.
I think it's great.
And the opportunity these kids will have out there to fish for, a big tournament like this one, and for a nice big cash prize. It's exciting for all of them.
I think it's great.
Okay. All righty. There you have it. We're going to move on. We're going to do what we call tackle talk. All right. So every show, we always like to highlight some hot products, some new stuff that might have rolled through the door, and some old stuff that's pertinent that you guys might have forgot about, but is hot right now. So what do we got, George? What are we talking about today?
Oh, I got some stuff.
Yeah, I know you got stuff.
I mean, I got. We might cause a panic here on some of this stuff. There might be some.
I love that.
Might be some people storming the building tomorrow.
You know, we're so lucky, George and I, because it's like, everybody waits for the 25th of December for Christmas, and how exciting that is. Me and George and I, every day that the door opens in the back shipping room.
Steady, fella.
That is it's like so exciting because we don't know, some of this stuff's rolling in, this new stuff. And, it's really cool to be able to do that. I like it.
All right.
I'm excited.
Point taken.
Yeah. So are you
so what I have here,
stuff?
Mike, huh?
Once you talked about the exciting stuff first.
Well, it's all exciting, but I'm saving that for last.
Oh, okay.
Nobody can see that, the camera angle. So what I'm going to talk about here is a 9.5 to 1 gear ratio. Lose hyperspeed.
I'm glad they painted that thing red because that's how fast that thing is when you reel it.
Well, why I'm talking
fire.
about it is we're talking about flipping and pitching tonight.
It's fire.
And, we like high speed reels for flipping and pitching. So
Yeah.
you have it here. You have a spool that will handle. They rated at 120 yards of 12 pound. So you're going to be about 80 yards of 20, maybe 85 yards of 20. You're going to be 115 yards of 50 braid. More than enough.
More than enough. Funny.
40 inches of line. So every time you crank the handle from just like this, 40 inches of line, 80, 120. Can you keep up? 160.
Got it.
200.
300.
320.
320.
Carbon drag washer. So you can lock this bad boy down, for when you're flipping in the cover and you don't want that drag to slip on a hook set.
Absolutely.
Nice big power handle, about 100 millimeter, I would say. It's got the little kick out hook keeper, so you don't have to scratch up your pretty cherry red,
paint job.
Candy apple red paint job. You got the little
fire red.
See that, Nick? See how that works? You just kick that out, and you can hook your hook on one of those two keepers.
There you go.
And then you just put her back. Aluminum side plate. So the gear side of the reel, this side plate's all aluminum, reducing any flex. Aluminum one-piece frame. It's got an aluminum alloy drive gear and a P2 super pinion. And for those of you who can't really visualize that, here's what a drive gear and a pinion gear looks like. Drive gear meshes with pinion gear. Pinion gear meshes with spool via that little crisscross there. Drive gear turns pinion gear turns spool. Aluminum alloy. like a bronze brass alloy. What they mean by super pinion is it's a larger pinion, and it's supported with a bearing here, and it's supported with a bearing here. So there's none of this in the frame. You know, when you get your 65-pound Power Pro snagged and you reel down and you point your rod at it and you're wrenching on it like this, yeah, stuff's moving that you don't want to move. I don't know how I bent my spool on this reel. I never dropped it or nothing. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't. But here's the coolest thing. It's a centrifugal casting reel. And what's cool about that is, you know, centrifugal means that the little weights are like brakes, and they rub on the spool in some manner. They rub on something that's connected to the spool, and they cause friction, which slows the spool down. But as the cast dies and the speed lessens, because it's centrifugal, they back off.
Infinitely changing.
Yeah, it's high demand when you need it.
Yep, infinitely changes through
and
the
it's
cast.
low demand when you don't. So you get braking, max braking, and then it feathers out.
Yep.
But what's cool about this is you can externally adjust your weights. You can simply turn them up and turn them down. And the way they do that is they have, I haven't taken this reel apart yet, but there's probably about 6 brakes in here. Yep. Those little red deals are brakes. They're all active at all times, but they rub on that little brass ring.
Brass ring there, yep.
If you back that up, you get less braking. If you move it in, you get more braking. So what's cool about that is if you're flipping, pitching, and casting, you know, all you have to do is just turn this back to free for pitching. And then if you want to cast, just turn it up about halfway. You don't have to mess with your cast control. So you can go back and forth. You know, if you want to cast your flip, if you're flipping and pitching and all of a sudden you see a couple targets you want to cast to, just turn it up a little and get a little braking. So, and of course you'll dial in your braking. It'll be your tweaked out setting. But listen, $199.99. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad and this reel feels great. I mean, this thing is butter smooth, super silent. So tonight we are featuring the Lose Hyperspeed.
Beautiful.
Candy
Beautiful
apple
reel.
red. $199.99, 9.5 to 1 gear ratio, 40 inches of line per crank.
I'll go with your boat, Nick.
Aluminum frame, aluminum side plate, externally adjustable centrifugal braking.
Yeah.
You all see how that works. Carbon drag washer, aluminum alloy drive gear and pinion. You saw how that worked. So that's where you're at. So that's our reel for tonight.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's a really good price for that reel.
What do you think, Nick?
It's a really, really good price for that reel.
I like it. Looks smooth. I like that little hook keeper deal that they put in there too. That's pretty cool.
They do some cool stuff with their stuff. They even have like a little dial where you can dial your line.
Not on this one.
Size on some of their reels too. That
They
do.
put it right in the end of the cast control
Yeah,
knob.
you just, you know, if you have 12 on there, you just dial it around at 12 or 10 or whatever. And you know, not all the reels have it, but that's one of the things they do on some of their reels. It's pretty cool.
It's very cool. And it's a great feeling reel.
Yeah.
We've actually sold quite a few of them this year. That reel came out at ICAST last year. Of course, it didn't ship until January.
Mike Barr, it's not a push button. It doesn't have the button for you, buddy. Yeah. It's light. It's nice and light.
Hey, George, that's a 9 to 5 gear ratio.
9.5 to 1.
9.5 to 1. Is there truth with torque and the higher gear ratios?
Oh, absolutely. So think of your gear ratio like a 10-speed bike. And, you know, a 9.5 to 1 gear ratio reel is like 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th gear. You're on the level. This is fast. But you get on a hill and you're standing up in the saddle and you're like, good God almighty. That is called a lack of torque. So from a fisherman's standpoint of view, let's address this for a quick hot minute. If you were winding a 8XD crankbait from Strike King on a 9.5 to 1 reel, it would feel like this crankbait is like you're winding in a 5-gallon bucket of water. Like, I mean, this thing be pulling hard. That's the lack of torque. But, you know, the offshore cranking bite is all about speed. You know, burn that bait past them. Well, you want to do that, but you want, for that big, deep diving crankbait, you want a little bit lower gear ratio. Some people are going as high as the 7s, but like a 6.2 to 1 that you reel like this. Okay? But it's torquey. Now, the other side of that is, well, guys, if the torque's no good, why do I want it for flipping? Because that's like heavy-duty hand-to-hand combat. Well, in worming, flipping, jigging, you know, where you're fishing a bottom bait, you move the fish with the rod. So, you know, when you flip in there and you get the bite, this high-speed reel, you know, we're big advocates of 8.5 and above, or 8 and above. So you flip in, tick. Well, you know, your rod's here. You need to get down here and set the hook, and then you need to regain control of your line to get back in front of yourself. Or you're frogging. Boom. And you set the hook, and now you're back here, right? You want to get back in front of yourself, high-speed reel. So flipping, frogging, high-speed reel, but the torque isn't as important because the rod is doing the pulling and the reel's picking it up. You know what I'm saying?
Like tuna fishing.
Yeah. So torque, important in cranking. You know, pulling stuff that pulls through the water hard. Speed, important in when you need to pick up line.
Yep.
Does that help, Nick?
Perfect.
Nice.
What else you got, George?
Oh, I got hats.
Oh, yeah.
I got hats. So I got the Boonie from Sims. I'm going to model it for you. Kind of reminds me of Caddyshack. It's important to act like an animal. I have to get inside his pelt and crawl around. Think like an animal. Remember that scene? Boonie hat, right? Good stuff. Keep the sun off your ears.
You didn't do the driver scene where they was driving that's the best scene where he's whacking the flower tops.
Oh, man. Cinderella story.
Out of nowhere.
Par 3 at Augusta, 17th hole. Bucket cap. Sims bucket cap. Basically the same thing, little smaller on the brim. A couple different colors in these guys. You can check them out on the old sfttackle.com. But check this one out. This was just odd enough to cause me to stock it. 100% mesh hat.
Mm-hmm.
Mesh in the back, mesh on the sides, mesh in the front. We ain't meshing around.
Yeah.
And that's in their Ghost Camo Stone. Then, of course, the Bass Patch Trucker is new.
That's a cool hat.
Well, you know, the Bass Patch Trucker we stock all the time. We stock it in multiple colorways.
Yeah.
This is a new colorway called Ghost Camo Steel, which I believe is also available in a some rain suits also.
Mhm.
And then, of course, we have the Woodland Camo Bass Icon Trucker, old school Woodland Camo, Sims Orange on the fish, badass. So that's some new stuff. Matt also loaded up a bunch of new colorways on the Sun Gator. And by the way, Sims, I mean, I don't want to upset anybody out there in the world, but Sims has the best Sun Gator going. It's got laser cut breather holes. It's tailored out to fit your neck. You can tuck it in your shirt. You keep the sun off the back of your head, back of your neck. And it's SPF 50, and it's legit SPF 50.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me how I know that. Thought I had my solar shirt with me Sunday. I didn't. Thought it was in the boat. The bite was so ferocious I couldn't put sunscreen on, so I get the stupid award also.
That's a rarity for him to get burnt like that.
I never get
It's
burned.
very, very
ever.
rare.
All right. Drum roll, Mike.
What's up, Bears? South Jersey fishermen. How you doing? Charlie Esterly. We were going to do a flipping contest.
If you can find it.
Drum roll.
If you can find it. Do this with the TMS.
And you missed it.
Why don't you label these things? All right. All you mega bassers out there in the world, we got some badass mega bass up in the hizzy. So, one of the hottest colors ever in mega bass is called Northern Secret. And it's Canada only color, very hard to come by.
Love that color.
Well, here it is. And a 110 junior, a 110 plus 2, a 110, and a 110 plus 1. I cannot hold all four of them. So we got, oh, did I say X80 trick darter?
Oh. Oh.
Seriously? Are you having fun yet?
Yeah.
My God. So, Northern Secret. Woo!
We need some more?
No, please no. And then, and Northern Secret has been available in 110 Junior plus 1, but not in 110 Junior, 110, 110 plus 1, 110 plus 2, X80 trick darter.
Nice.
They are now.
They are now.
And then GL XS Spawn Cherry. Oh, man. I'm sorry I brought up the soundboard. 110 Junior, 110 plus 2, and trick darter. This color has run in 110. It also is standard in 110 Junior plus 1, but they occasionally run it in other colors, other baits. So we got them. They are not loaded up on the website currently because of image issues. Imaging issues. So what we would like for you to do, if you would like them,
call here at the shop.
Tomorrow, give us a call.
Yeah.
Because we got some image issues, and we were like, you know what? Can we put them up without pictures? Well, that's
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So we just said, you know what? We'll just blast them out like this. and it's fun. It's exciting. Listen, we love every aspect of this show, but we love Tackle Talk.
We love Tackle
Don't
Talk. We love it. It's what we do. We do
Yeah,
tackle.
We do tackle, all right.
We do tackle. That's one thing we do.
So there you go, people.
Right on.
We brought you a bunch of Sims brims. How you like that rhyme?
Sims brims.
Got you a bunch of Sims brims.
Very, very good.
We got you some Lose Hyperspeed reels. Oh, my.
Yeah.
When it's time to relax. And we have got the new Megabass color. What, 2 of them? Oh, my God. I'll drink to that.
All right.
That is Tackle Talk for this week.
Absolutely. There's Tackle Talk for you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And check that stuff out on sfttackle.com for some of the sim stuff and the Revo, Lose Reel. And then call the shop here for this, all the Northern Secret and the Megabass stuff. We got it. We can ship it out to you. Just give us a call tomorrow. We'll take care of you there.
We have
No
large
problem.
quantities also.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We got aggressive with it. And while you're at it, if you have any other models that you're looking for, we still have quite the nice little assortment of Respect Series colors from the previous months.
Oh yeah, we got some extra
But
stuff
that's a
here.
conversation for another time.
Absolutely. All right,
Big Mike.
we're gonna move on to what we call tournament talk.
Oh my. Got like a fast-paced show.
It is
You know what I think we should do?
what
Commercials
commercial?
in between the segments. Of course, paying sponsors, of course. So if anybody's out there that would like to produce a commercial and have it run on Tackle Shop Live, we have the segue segments from the intro to Tackle Shop Talk, from Tackle Shop Talk to Tournament Talk, and from Tournament Talk to main. So we can work.
We can work some stuff in
work
there.
about 4 commercials in for you.
Yeah.
We're pretty good at doing those reads, and we like to throw some bonus minutes in. So
It's pretty cheap. Pretty cheap.
Talk to us.
Couple Miller Lights and we're good.
Whoa! Don't undersell the program here. But plus, it would be a nice break from segment to segment.
Well, I mean,
Instead of all this filler bustering that I have to do.
we could record like really cool commercials. Have like a little skit. Nick, we could do a skit.
Heck yeah, we can do it all.
Yeah.
You know,
Have work Nick in there to do some skit stuff.
that's right.
Dress him up all pretty like.
This will all be taken under advisement. I'll get back to you.
George is not liking what he's hearing.
Well, I mean, I can just see how this is going. 2 worst actors in America coming to work.
I was going to dress Nick up
Producing.
as a big bass, and then I was going to hook him right.
Commercials.
And then we were going to talk about this rod, how we whooped their ass on a big bass. We'd lip
See
him.
what I mean?
We'd lip him.
Nobody's going to watch your stupid commercials.
drag him into the boat.
Hey, you never know. Like, look at TikTok. The stupider it is, the better they watch it.
What you need to do is leave all the creative stuff to me. Okay. I'll get you guys dialed in and we'll do some commercials. So in the next couple weeks, prepare yourselves. Now you have commercials on Tackle Shop Live. See? Talked ourselves right into it.
So George, I got a question for you. We're getting into tournament talk. Are you liking how the year's shaping up?
Well, yes. So on the Bass Opens, I got this kid from Illinois that I'm watching. He's 18 years old. I think his name's Trey
Illinois.
McKinney or Trey. Believe it or not, I'm watching him. This kid's 18. He's won BFLs. He's on his, what is this, the 4th Bass Open of the year? He's already got 3 top 10s. Or 2 top 10s for sure. A 2nd place finish at Toledo Bend. Well, guess what? I'm watching my man Trey weigh in today, and there's some guns out there, and they're bringing in like 19, 10, 19, 11. I think it was Joey Nanya, 1911. Some other big gun comes in, 1912. Well, young Trey wasn't dissuaded.
Yeah.
21 and change. And he's humble, and he's 18, and I'm happy from there. Now on the Elite Series, I'm pretty satisfied with that so far. We've had, one grinder, and we've had all the rest have been pretty good tournaments.
Yeah.
Good bite.
I was upset that Palaniuk didn't win. I really want to see him win that one.
Dead fish penalty.
I know. I didn't realize that right away until you told me.
But this guy, Will Davis Jr., who did win, grew up on that lake. His dad took him to his first team tournament when he was 7 on Lay Lake.
Yeah.
So he grew up on, his dad is Will Davis Bait Company. He grew up on that lake, taking everybody's lunch money for decades.
Oh, they win
hundreds of thousands of dollars. No exaggeration.
When we were down on our trip with St. Croix, and the one fella was taking care of us, Miller, he was telling me he's buddies with this kid, and he was telling me, like, he was talking to him about, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to fish this tournament, show all your stuff, and he's like, well, I mean, I'm in the big boys now. It's
time to let it out of the bag.
It's time to let it out of the bag. But he was telling me that these guys win everything.
They've won over $300,000 on that lake.
Yeah, up until June, you can't beat them. After June, then you have a shot at it.
Why? Because they stopped fishing?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's postponed.
Yeah, I don't know what the situation is.
What's crazy? What you just said, though, how good they are.
Yeah,
and he had all them secrets. He probably And Brandon Palaniuk was right there.
He was.
So he's so good too.
Oh,
it's ridiculous.
I mean, he basically won a tournament if he didn't have that dead fish. You know what I mean? So he was right there, and I really like Brandon Palaniuk. I like the way he carries himself. I like the fact that he is showcasing his life on the road and his tournaments. I love his videos. The fellow that shoots all the videos for him is tremendous. He just really captures what it's like, and they're short little 20-minute things, but they're really awesome. The recap of each tournament really shows you the life on the road, and his thinking process is just really awesome. How he thinks about fishing, and how he thinks about what he has to do, and how he has to prepare himself, and I just like that with him. He's just a great guy.
Well, and he fished in beeswax, which is where the tournament blasted off from, and nobody else did.
Yeah.
Beeswax is where KVD won the Classic.
That's where I would have went
back in the day. That was a cold weather tournament, but
doesn't matter. I went there anyway.
There's a couple things, Nick. So far, we've talked about the Opens, we've talked about the Elites. There's a couple things rearing their head, and I'm not going to get into the incidents, but I am going to get into the behavior a little bit. And, there was some, first of all, when you're at the Elite Series level and you're trying to make it, the pressures and the stresses that you're under financially are incredible, because this is not a extremely profitable sport. It is when you get there, but getting there is a bitch. So once you get there, like Mike was just talking about Brandon Palaniuk, who's a glowing example of the Elite Series. So getting there, he's chronicled sleeping in the truck.
Yep.
Having absolutely nothing and getting there. Once you get there, the sponsors come knocking at your door. the money flows, and
Excuse me.
you know, for the bass fishing world, it's a good living. But between point A and point B, and point B is getting there,
It's a grind, man.
there's
Takes
stresses.
Takes a special person to do it. I
There's-
guarantee you that much.
There's decisions that have to be made about the unwritten etiquette of bass fishing, which is basically, if you know, and this is going to be the Cliff Notes version real quick. If Nick and I are both in the elites and we both find the same exact school of fish, and I get an earlier boat draw than him and I go there first, and then he decides not to pull in and say, hey, George, I found these fish also. I'll be glad to show you my chart plotter. You mind if I share the spot with you? If he decides not to do that, then that conversation is over for the rest of the week. Day 2, after he struggled and I whacked him and the field's flipped, Nick does not go there. Nick only goes there on day 2 if Nick pulled up on day 1 and said, hey, George, I found these fish also. I'll show you on my chart plotter if you'd like, and I'd like to be able to fish them. Now, I can be a frickin' prick and say no, or I can be a sportsman and say yeah. But remember, the same pressures that are on Nick are on me. I have the same wants and needs and desires, and I have the same bills and the same family to feed.
Well,
And this might be my break.
the other thing,
And I may say, sorry, Nick,
yeah,
it's a one boat hole. But that would be wrong on me. But
or
you better not be there tomorrow.
well, I mean, if you come in and you say, listen, we're going to have to share this hole, and you don't do it, I'll be there the next day.
That's different.
Yeah,
That's not what I said.
yeah, that's kind of what you said.
No, it's not what I said. I said if Nick pulls up in the morning, listen closely.
No, I did. I understand that part.
And he
but then
says-
the last part you said that,
If I say
if
no,
you say no,
that's different.
if
That's different.
you say no, then
That's
Nick's
different.
still in play.
That's different. But when I come in the next
day.
morning,
Yeah.
I'm coming in hot and I'm packing.
Yeah. Well,
And Nick's going to have to hold his ground.
That's right. I got me some
So-
tournament block.
I think what you're
Stuff.
missing is the
I got
total.
you. I got you.
There is an unwritten code. Well, in
Yeah.
this Lay Lake tournament,
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
Okay. It's thank God it's been kept off of social media, but it happened. And sort of got kept
It's
off.
on there.
Oh shit. So that and the reason that I'm bringing this up is not to chastise anyone, but this is a very small window sport compared to golf. You know, I mean, the NBA playoffs are on right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To us, it's the world, but to the world, it's not.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money in it. So that this whole conversation started because Nick asked me how I'm feeling about the year. And I'm feeling pretty good about the year, but I'm not feeling good about that. Okay. And I'm not feeling good about the Facebook and social media. So, like, if you haven't been there, you probably shouldn't say anything. I'm not calling anybody out. My horse ain't higher and mightier than yours, but if you haven't fished these circuits like this, like the Elite Series, where when you paid your entry fees, you almost had a heart attack, and your truck has 150,000 miles on it, and your shopping spree consisted of peanut butter and jelly and bread, right? So when you jump on there and you comment and you say things that these guys, yeah, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but if you don't know what you're talking about, don't talk about it.
You know, it is interesting with what you bring up, George, and it is on social media, and social media today is just ridiculous. But the thing is, we almost have to be, no matter who you are, you almost have to realize there's probably a camera on you at all times.
Well, you should certainly behave that way.
Yeah, and I'm even saying a weekend angler. There's so many people that just whip out their phones and they're ready for everything. And you got to be.
That's in everything now.
Yep.
I mean, that's in everything, right? So the other incident that's been well publicized, it concerns a good friend of the show, Mr. Keith Poche, who is personal friends of ours, and we admire the hell out of this guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, and I'm not taking his side, but that's his style. And now they're blasting away again on social media. So, you know, I'm very happy, Nick, with the way the season's going. There's a couple little blips on the radar, and, you know, the 24-hour news cycle of the world. This stuff will all work out. These guys are professionals, okay? And at the end of the day, the cream rises to the top, and the professionals will behave like professionals. They may be throwing some hand grenades at each other right now, but before the next tournament, it'll be a professional product put on the stage. And you know why I know that? Because they're elite series anglers. And that's what you get there. So,
George, you brought up the point that you were talking about was sharing a spot. And, you know, we all know, everybody that's watching this, listening to it, we all know you fished professionally there for a while. Have you ran into that?
Not really bad. You know, I had some situations that were probably more my fault than anything, but I felt like that shouldn't have been happening. And, you know, you want to stand your own ground, especially when you're just like barely able to pay attention, let alone, you know, afford to fish. But I think it's like that unwritten rule. If you know, communication is the key. And you know, that can happen on a local weekend. That can happen at SummerSlam this weekend. You know, the inclination is when someone pulls up is to be like, you know, but if you just take a second and say, yo, I'm fishing down this bank here. You know, I don't mind if you fish here, but could you like follow me? Or, you know, go way down there and come up towards me, and then we'll, you know, I was always respectful to the point where if somebody pulled in here and came this way, to me, that was a sign of respect because I was going this way. And when we got to like what I would consider the imaginary halfway point, if I got there first, I would turn. And then I would look, and that angler usually would turn too. Now I knew without any words being spoken that we were going to be respectful of that territory. And for those of you who are not tournament fishing and you make it sound like, well, you don't own the water. You're right. I don't own the water, but
there's just that.
I was there first.
There's just that unwritten rule that you know, and we have a lot of great people that come in this store, and they're just, all of our customers are just super great, and they're great people. You know, deep down inside, they got a good heart, and they're respectful, and they care about people. But Nick, when people get on the water, man, they lose their mind. I say this all the time. People lose their mind on the water.
They turn into the Hulk.
They would never do those things to somebody, you know what I mean? Or say those things or act that way to somebody on land and away from the competition. And it's exactly that. It's the competition that makes you.
But what would a little communication do in most cases?
Absolutely. Well, that's what I'm saying. You know,
I mean, you and I have fished
yeah,
together and had people come in on plane
yeah,
and set their boat down in front of us.
yeah.
And, you know, we probably should have rowed over there and boarded the vessel and had a discussion. But what do we usually do?
Yeah.
Pull up the trolling motor and leave.
Yeah, we go do our thing. But, you know,
That's an outlier.
I'm just saying that communication is a thing. Hey, buddy, you know, which way you going? You know, I kind of trying to hold this area here. Let's work this out a little bit. And if the guy gets belligerent with you, you know, then he's one of them people. You know, he's one of them guys that, you know what, he probably will.
That's when you launch countermeasures.
He's probably that guy who climbs up the tree and rescues a cat, or, you know, walks an old lady across the street and stops traffic. He's probably that guy, but on the water, he loses his friggin' mind. And there's a lot of that goes on. And you just, you know, we all need to check ourselves. It's the competition. It's competition. It's very weird competition, but it's competition. And that just puts people in a totally different mindset. You know?
I mean, there's
been a lot of friendships lost. Trust me, in fishing. A lot of friendships have been broken and lost because even best friends screwed over their best friend. You know what I mean? It happens. I've heard it a million times, and it's just a shame, because if you just had a little communication and a little talk and a little of this, a little of that, a lot of that stuff wouldn't happen. And then we need a lot more of it on the water.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm at with that, Nick. As far as the Bass Pro Tour is concerned, it's interesting. Mr. Wheeler is human. Turns out he's human.
Yeah. A little off year.
He's got 97 irons in the fire and doesn't have enough time to pay attention to anything because he's so freaking busy and so in demand, and rightfully so. I don't know if you ever met him, but he's a true professional.
Oh, absolutely.
But on the water, he's having a challenging season so far. He had a good day yesterday, but anyways, that's where I'm at with that, Nick. My takeaways from Bass Pro Tour. What's going on right now? We just completed day 2 of Group A qualifying. Tomorrow will be day 2 of Group B qualifying. Lake Guntersville, post-spawn, and there's a couple interesting things happening that I made some notes on. One is the, classic ledge fish bite. Their schools are starting to form up. But what's playing there is the big Nichols structure spoon. The big Magnum, the big 9-inch, the big 8-inch Nichols structure spoon, flutter spoon is playing big time in that tournament. Also, bluegill beds. We always talk about when the bass are done spawning, the bluegills move in and colonize their beds, and the bass just hang back there and just pick them off, whenever they need a little snack. The bluegill bed game is playing with frogs, with wacky, with chatterbait. The other thing that's interesting that we talk about a lot on this show is the heavy Nico rig and the drop shot. This lake is blown out with eelgrass. Guntersville is as healthy as it's ever been. There is miles and miles of eelgrass. And as a result of that, there's miles and miles of chopped up eelgrass floating on the surface, which radically limits bait choice. So you're seeing a lot of worming. You're seeing a lot of Nico rig. You're seeing a lot of drop shot rig, and it's playing. It's playing real well. And then my last note is Matt Becker, originally from the Pittsburgh area, now living in Alabama, busted the old dirty 30 yesterday. He had a 5-minute run.
Unbelievable.
Where he caught 3 6-pounders.
Unbelievable. He's having a good year.
Yeah.
Every time you look,
he's having a good couple of years.
Yeah, he's really a great fisherman.
Awesome.
Really a great fisherman.
Awesome. So the elite tournament last week on Lay Lake, we talked a little bit about Will Davis winning. The biggest thing I wanted to highlight from that tournament to me is a technique that we really haven't talked about much on this show. We did it years ago, but we haven't done it and we need to do it. And I got it here to show it to you. And it's something that Will Davis used to great success. It's called a scrounger head. Well known, but overlooked.
Really brought to fruition by Aaron Martins.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Martins at one point in time had Will Davis's dad make Aaron Martin's version of it.
Yeah.
But the scrounger head is nothing more than a flexible plastic lip, snap on the eye. It almost behaves like a chatterbait. So if you think of this thing as a finesse chatterbait, you might be a little more inclined to fish it.
Yeah.
Now, a good friend of SFT has taught me how to fish it. A gentleman that works for Garmin and is quite the bass angler.
Yeah.
And this guy just lives with this thing in his hand at all times, and he fishes a Zoom Super Fluke on it.
He does. And he catches fish on that thing,
which
man.
is what
everywhere he goes. He throws it Potomac, Raystown, New York.
Basically, what Will was fishing was his dad's version of a Super Fluke.
Yeah.
So, you got your Super Fluke, basic Zoom Super Fluke. You got your scrounger head. This is a 1/2 ounce. You always want to go a little heavier than what you think on the scrounger head. And just kind of eyeball it up. You could also use the junior size and just thread it on there. Bear with me.
You all right? You want me to do it for you?
Nope, I got it. I just want it to be nice and straight.
That's the key, making it nice and straight. You put any kinks in that thing and you get too much bend in it.
Comes through the water. You got some good tail wag. And that bad boy will flat out catch some fish.
Definitely don't throw that enough. I definitely don't throw that enough.
And as I was digesting my dose of the Elite Series, I'm like, made a little note in my book. I'd like to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I got for you in tournament talk, people. The other thing is, Lay Lake was a tough tournament, and I really think this is something you want to drill down on and pay attention to. It was a tough tournament. This is a key to a tough post-spawn bite. If current is available to you, fish the current. Post-spawn fish.
How many people were up there fishing the current? Was there a lot?
Not
of
many.
No, I didn't say. Well, it must be treacherous as hell to get up there.
It's not easy. Current and post-spawn fish, that is the equalizing factor.
Man, I'd have been going up through there, George, and I'd have had both the switches, man. Straight up, man, and
Thumbs
rooster
up.
tails, and I'd be like, woo, going up through there. I'd be dodging them rocks and all that stuff, for sure. But our boy Greggy didn't have such a great event on Lay Lake. He struggled a little bit. He was never there and didn't have any time to go there and check it out. So he's kind of limited, but he just never really got on anything real good. And it happens in tournaments. The tournament before, I think he made the cut and cashed and did well. So he got a little bit of a hole he has to dig himself out of, but I think he's all set up for this next run.
Oh, he's got plenty of time.
Yeah.
I was talking to him this week and he's super positive. He's pumped up.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you zig when you should zag.
Yeah.
And, fishing's one of those things, like you have a good tournament, what the deal was.
Yeah.
If you have a bad tournament, you're there scratching your head, like
trying to figure it out. Yeah.
And all you can do is learn and move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't learn something from it, then it's a wasted tournament. But I'm sure he learned something about it, and move on to the next one. Take that knowledge and move on. I'm sure he's gonna rebound well from it. Where are they at next, Nick?
They're going to the Sabine River.
Yeah, when's that?
I think in 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, are they down there in 2-3 weeks?
Yeah, July. Yeah, it might be wrong.
I think it's a month. Isn't it a month in between this?
6 weeks.
Because
5 weeks from now.
Because you know what we're doing? Greggy and I are fishing the Ike tournament again this year.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we missed it last year. He was fishing another tournament, couldn't make it. So I fished with another buddy of mine.
I did you a favor today, and I called Ike.
Yeah.
And I asked him what the second place payout was. So you can tell Greg that you guys aren't going to do too bad.
You don't even have a partner yet.
I might fish a solo, whoop your ass.
Oh,
one
yeah,
against
right.
two.
Yeah, George doesn't need to share the profits. He can win it all.
Jeez.
I fish it with cameraman Nick.
Yeah.
We're going to win.
We'll definitely have a side bet.
We're taking my boat, though.
We will.
We're taking your boat.
Yeah. We'll definitely have a side bet.
Okay.
Faux show.
Well,
Where's that? Upper Bay?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's cross that.
Don't even, Nick.
Let's cross that bridge when we get there.
Don't even open your mouth.
Let's cross that bridge when we get there.
All
right, boys. Tonight's topic is flipping and pitching, which, I came up with all these topics about a month and a half ago so that we had like an outline. And I got to thinking about flipping and pitching. And first of all, nobody flips. Everybody pitches. And it can be anything. I mean, this is a broad topic.
Yeah, because a lot of guys call pitching flipping.
Well, it doesn't matter what you call it, but my point is
the way you cast,
when
whatever.
when you say flipping and pitching, I think of super heavy cover, hand-to-hand combat. But you know what? Not necessarily.
No, not at all.
Not
at all.
You could be flipping and pitching a 1/4 ounce weight on, a creature style bait on 15-pound fluorocarbon on a single piece of wood.
Yeah. Or a dock.
Or
flipping and
you
pitching.
could go the other extreme and get out your 7.6 to 7.11 heavy flipping rod,
8-footer,
and punch mats. Yeah. So it covers a huge range.
When I think of pitching and flipping, I can't help but think of Mike and George. I don't know why. I just get that feeling. Where did you guys cut your teeth in flipping and pitching?
Well, I don't know if we
were always hardcore tidal water guys. We were always Potomac River, Chesapeake Bay guys.
Yeah.
And we liked to fish in the dirt.
Yeah,
and we didn't know how to pitch worth a damn.
We didn't. And I think the place we should start is the pitching part.
Do we even have a rod here?
No, I don't think we have a rod here.
Let me see what I can come up with while you talk.
The problem with pitching is, a lot of us go out and we try to do it and learn on the water. And we try to make these casts and we try to do this stuff on the water, and we get frustrated, and then we just don't get any better. Well, George and I, over the years, having a tackle shop, and the people coming in, we and with our bass club, we always made a competition of pitching and flipping, and all in the view of trying to be better at it, So when we put a cup out there at 25 feet, we would be able to throw at the cup and throw at the cup and throw at the cup and throw at the cup, and then it was okay. How many can you make? And the guy that makes the most, gets the dollar or whatever. But it just sharpened our skills, and then we started taking the cup and sticking it underneath the table, and then trying to make the pitch underneath the table and into the cup. And then we put it on the other side of the table. So we had to cast through the table into the cup. And we just kept messing with this with all of our buddies, you know. In our club, River Hills Bassmasters, if you didn't know how to pitch, you were you were ridiculed to all get out, you know. So at all of our poker games, we would have a you know, a scrimmage in between hands or whatever. We get up and we'd pitch. If you went out early, you'd pitch, try to make this one cast that we'd set up that was really almost impossible to make. But we would have a rod there and we make those casts. So my point of that is we've become very good at putting a jig or bait that we're going to talk about tonight in spots that nobody else put it. And that's really what pitching is all about. It's about being able to put the bait where it needs to go in that situation that you're in. And we've caught a lot of fish behind, like we can go up a bank. I tell this to guys when I'm teaching them out front here how to cast and how to pitch, that if you really get good at it, you can go behind a boat that's ahead of you and you can catch fish right behind them, because the majority of the people, and you know, I hate to say this, you know, majority of our customers, they don't have the talent or the time, you know, the accuracy to put that bait where it needs to be, because they just don't have the time to put into it. You know, it's like skipping a jig. It's, you know, something that 10% of the people can really skip a jig, and the rest of us struggle like hell because we don't put the time into learning how to skip a jig. We don't take that time to do it. Well, George and I, you know, when we found out about pitching, and I don't even know how it was, but it was something, you know, it was something we were watching a tournament.
It was Denny Brower.
Or yeah, something we were watching a tournament or whatever. And we were like, what's this all about? You know? And then we started to pitch. Then we started to put that bait out there and set it into the water. Instead of splash it and cast it into the water, we were putting it out there and we were setting the bait in the water. And all of a sudden we went from catching 2.5 to 3 pounders to catching 4 and 5 and 6. And Big Jake here has been known to catch an 8 pounder here and there. But all because we took the time to learn how to do it. And so the thing you guys should take from this is when you're sitting at home and you want to drink a beer, just go out back, set a cup up, and start pitching at a cup and start hitting that cup. If you can hit the cup, you know, 6 out of 10 times, then you're ready. You know, you're ready. And then take that cup and put it underneath something, because you're always trying to get that bait to go back up underneath something, and then take it and put it on the other side of that thing and try to get it to really shoot underneath that cover and go into that cup on the other side of that. And then you'll be able to go behind these guys, you know, not 80% of the people out there, you can go right behind them and get your bait to places that wasn't, and that they never got their bait to, and you'll catch those fish that are really tricky to catch. And they'll all of a sudden 4s and 5s will start coming into your boat.
Put the bait where the fish are.
Yeah. And you know,
there's some mechanics to this though.
Oh, there's a lot of mechanics.
There's some mechanics to it. I rigged up a rod here, but it all starts with the reel. Okay. So you want to turn your braking off. You want no braking. So if you back off your cast control, and this is for just general knowledge, you know, and you take and try to move that spool back and forth laterally, and you can feel a little movement there, that means the cast control and the spool shaft aren't touching. So you want just on the edge of that, right? And then, like, this is a centrifugal reel, so I will just take and turn off my braking. I'll put it on 0. I don't actually have to go in there and turn all my brake blocks off. I just back that off, right? So now I have total free fall. It's Nick, it's all in the thumb. Why is that important, Nick? Because I'm not casting the bait, right? So I found that just figuring this part of it out, just figuring this part of it out right here, you know, where you're bringing that butt of that rod up inside your wrist, right? You know, you could do it from the outside, but I always found on the inside. And just a little pendulum maneuver. And as you bring that rod up, bring that tip up, that RPM increases, and that bait gets out there, and it keeps a low trajectory. And I call that the mechanics of it. I recommend you practice that. Rod-wise, I think it's very important. So this is a perfect example. This is a 7-foot, what I would call a heavy fast. This is a Megabass Tour Versatile. I tend to stick with 7.2, 7 foot to 7.2 for my pitching, 7 foot to 7.3 for my pitching. Not so much with my flipping stick, my 7.6, my 7.7, my 7.8. I tend to use those more for heavy grass situations. So let's call it pitching clump grass. Let's call it pitching hardcover, laydowns, rocks, trees, and clumpy grass pads. You know, I really like getting into that 7.2 heavy. You can go 7 to 7.3, you know, and every company has a great rod in that. And the rod is very important. The reel needs to have an 8 or bigger gear ratio, and the rod is very important. You do not want a too light of a rod. Now, there's what we call finesse pitching and flipping, and for that, I back down to a medium heavy rod, but I keep the length the same. You know, and think about your favorite brand. You know, let's say you're a Daiwa guy, right? You know, the Tatula Elite Series, the Kajay Series, on and on and on. Let's say you're a St. Croix guy, Legend Tournament Series, Victory Series, Mojo Series, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to spend a ton of money. On and on and on. But get a heavy power rod and get that length right. Get that gear ratio right. Now, line, Mike, so, you know, clump grass, hardcover.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say here, but
well, I mean, I really like,
where do you fall?
I mean, I really like you know, fluorocarbon, 20-pound, you know, at least, you know, 20-pound test. If it's not really bad, thick, really super thick, George and I messed around with a 16 and an 18-pound.
This stuff right here.
Yeah. It's like iron.
FC Sniper and Shooter.
Yeah.
In 16 and 18 is a freaking beast.
It is. We messed around with that line and found out that, you know, other than barnacles, it will handle a lot of stuff, you know. So, you know, in lighter situations, you know, smaller cover, that's a route to go. But listen, don't mess around with it. When you're in that heavy stuff, go right to 20-pound test. It's easy to pitch on a good reel. Now, I don't know if you said this, George, because I stepped away for a minute. But also, along with the rod, you can't pitch with a crappy reel. Got to have a decent reel.
Yeah, a fast. I was talking about fast free spool.
Yeah, but you got to have a quality reel.
And
it can't
a good drag. You need to be able to lock the drag down.
Yeah.
You know, today's reels, a lot of them have carbon drag washers. Critical.
Yeah. Well, I see so many guys. You know, they try to pitch with a reel. It just doesn't have the spool speed. You got to have the spool speed. So it's going to cost you a little bit of money to get that reel to do that. But you know, good pro shop.
Doesn't have to be hateful.
Doesn't have to be hateful, but good pro shop can dial you into the right one because there's a lot of
I
stuff
can tell
out
you this
there.
much.
Magnetic stuff just doesn't work real well.
Well, if you turn the magnets off, it does.
If they can turn off.
Yeah,
so,
if
so
you can turn them
a
off.
lot of them you can't.
My 18 shooter
Yeah.
will kick your 20's ass any day of the week.
Well,
I mean, you want to try it out? You want to throw down?
we did throw down at the freaking.
Huh?
We did throw down a couple weeks ago.
When we bust that 18 out? Huh?
We had 16 FC sniper, and I was really impressed with that. And for what we pulled out of the wood and timber, and it was
killer.
It wasn't thick heavy duty pitching. It was a little on the lighter side. It wasn't super thick, and that even that good quality, but a good quality line is very, very important.
It really is. I mean, now when I get into thick grass,
yeah, super thick grass.
Let's talk thick grass.
Yeah. Big.
So for me, thick, if I got to take my bullet weight up to an ounce, 3/4 to an ounce or more, I'm in thick grass. And if I'm in thick grass, I'm only using one line.
Yeah.
65 braid.
Yeah. I mean, they're not looking at the line. You're in super thick grass.
The line cuts the grass.
The
line, that fish.
Yeah, but a lot of guys will say 65 line. I mean, I hear it all the time. Are you crazy?
Well, it's thinner than it's fluorocarbon we're using.
But a lot of people don't realize that. Yeah, 65 is a 15 pound or
no, it's about an 18 pound.
18 pound test diameter. But the benefits from braid in heavy grass
cuts the grass.
It gives you that, because I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but when you flip into a pocket and that fish picks it up, he doesn't sit there and
he's over there.
He's already 3 foot over. So your line's
going.
Your line's actually making a bend.
You're setting a hook here.
Yeah.
Your fish is over here.
Yeah.
That braid will go like this.
Just cut all that grass right off. And
if you pull into a grass bed midday,
yeah,
or mid-morning, and there's just acres of floating cut off grass,
yeah,
you missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's already happened.
You missed the bite because all that grass is cut off from braid.
See, a lot of you guys don't. I mean, some of you guys have, but a lot of people listening here never been without braid in that situation. We grew up without braid. We grew up flipping in that heavy grass with 20-pound line, and that's what you had. And then you lost a lot of fish. You constantly lost fish in that heavy grass, and
you did.
And then what happened was you just didn't fish it anymore. You just kind of got away from it, or you fished the outside edge, or you fished bigger holes in the grass so you could at least get a shot at it because you just couldn't do it.
George, what you don't know, you don't know.
George went one time, in a tournament and went up to 30-pound test. He was like, I gotta have something. I just can't get these fish in the boats. He went to 30-pound line.
30 big game.
And he just still couldn't get him in. But it was, he got a lot more in than the 20, and had all the nightmares with the heavy line. So once the braid thing came along, it revolutionized grass fishing in heavy grass situations. It revolutionized.
Oh, it was game changer.
Yeah, same with frog.
Game changer.
I always like when George was talking about, and you were too, Mike. You guys were using the big game, and you're like, we set the hook with everything we had, and we still lost it back then. But I fished with a guy in Florida in an open, and it was so thick that you had to flip almost 2 ounces.
Yeah.
In order to get through.
Yeah.
And it was crazy with 65-pound braid, and those fish didn't mind. I mean, they didn't care. As soon as it went through that canopy of whatever, vines and everything else, if that fish was there, you felt that, and you knew right away you had it.
Yeah, well, when you get into a situation like that, then the rod choice really changes. You need to go minimum of 7.6 to 7.11, 8 foot, extra heavy. When you're in a hyacinth mat, and stuff that in our zip code we don't see. I mean, I've seen some 2 ounce water on the Potomac already, but it's rare. you need the extra heavy, 7.6, preferably 7.11, 8 foot.
I've got a question here. How versatile?
You know what I'm saying, Mike? Because that
yeah,
you got a giant sinker. It's kind of like this analogy here. If you're digging a tree stump out of the front yard and you got a 4-foot digging iron or an 8-foot digging iron, you're going to pick the 8-foot digging iron. It's leverage, and you're all day like this, all day. Had a customer in here today that was in the market for a flipping stick, a heavy flipping stick. And we settled in on a model, and I said, now I'm going to tell you something as important as this rod. Teach yourself to flip left-handed, because that right arm's not going to hold up for 4 days.
Yeah, doesn't.
Right?
Doesn't. There's a fellow here asking, the versatility of that 8-foot rod or that 7.11 heavy, and
even a 7.6.
It's not a lot of versatility with it.
It will throw a big swim bait.
Yeah, it could be a swim bait rod.
It's a great A-rig rod.
That's true. It could be. Yeah, it could be a great A-rig rod. So there's a few things you can do.
That's what I do with my flipping sticks.
But it's not real versatile. It's not a real versatile rod.
I throw my flipping sticks when they're not flipping, they're A-rigging and they're swim baiting. I can throw just about my full palette of swim baits on my heaviest flipping stick, except for the bigger glide baits, like the 3-4 ounce glide baits. Then we go to an 8-foot swim bait rod. But for 8-inch mag drafts, most 5-6 inch glides, no problem.
Yeah. So
the only thing I do is I switch reels out to 25 fluorocarbon and go.
Yeah, so there's some things you can do with it, and so it's not just a dead rod, but it's not very versatile. There's only a couple things you can do with it, but it's a rod you got to have anyway. So, but make sure it can handle 2.5 ounces of lead, because if you ever get to a situation, and I think this is going to be the year, I think this is going to be that year where we get those mats on some of these bodies of water that we're fishing, because the grass never died. So you're going to start seeing that mat fishing, and I'm never going to forget
the cheese.
I'm never going to forget the first time I ever did this. I tell this story often, but we get on this grass bed, and I was with Steve Kennedy fishing in the back of Steve Kennedy's boat, and he's like, I was catching some fish, and he's like, yeah. He said my fish aren't ready yet, and I was catching some fish, and I was like, whatever. So tide starts getting right, and he says, all right, we're going to go over here and start flipping, punching this grass mat. And I'm like, punching? What's that? He's like, get the heaviest sinker you have out. He said, you need 1.5 ounces. Because back then, that was the heaviest sinker you could buy. He said, you need 1.5 ounce sinker. And I'm like, I don't have 1.5 ounce sinker. I have 3/4. He's like, no, it ain't going to work. He said, you can fish the outside edge of the grass. Well, he goes,
put 2 of them on top of each other.
I did. I put 2 on top of each other. And I pegged everything up, and I threw that thing up in the air, and it would come down, and it would just sit on there. He was using a 1.5 ounce tungsten, and like every 5th cast, mine would go through. His, because it's smaller diameter, nice and heavy, it would punch right through there. He made one pass, and I had 3 fish in the boat because that's all I was allowed, and I had a nice weight, and he made one pass around there. He had 1 fish, and it was like a 12-incher. He made one pass around that big mat that we fished, and he had 17.5 pounds in the boat. That's how awesome that technique is. Once you figure that's punching and flipping that big heavy weight. So we're going to run into that again this year. I really think this is the year for it, because we had such a mild winter. So prepare yourself for that
in our neighborhood.
Now let's talk some baits, George. Let's talk some baits and see what this is all about.
Well, I almost pick my bait according to my cover.
Yeah.
So when I'm punching grass mats,
yep,
I want something that's streamlined. And, being an old school guy, I like something like this. A reaction, beaver style bait.
It's got to be my most favorite pitching bait, flipping bait out there.
Missile. D-bomb. Definitely a favorite.
Yep. Very great bait. Love that bait.
Latest and greatest.
Let me tell you about something about this thing, Nick. Listen, there's no bullcrap about this bait right here.
This is a
Max scent.
creature hog. But look, they're all the same.
Yeah. With that max scent, Nick. I mean, tell you something about that
They
stuff.
eat it.
They freaking eat that thing.
They eat that.
They eat that.
And they eat that. But it's compact. It's streamlined. It goes through the grass easy. You know, if you get into a thick situation where it's matted, you're going to be like an ounce and a half. That's just the way it is. If it's just real thick, clumpy grass, you're going to be like 3/4 to an ounce. If it's thinner than that, you know, you can just get your regular pitching rod out and drop back to 3/8.
Absolutely.
But this style of bait is fantastic in that situation. But you know what? It's also spectacular on hardcover. So
wood, docks, rock.
This is a pretty deep, big subject. But like when you're on the mat, the thick, heavy grass, you know, you pay attention to the little details. You pay attention to what you hear. You hear popping, flicking, clicking sounds. You got bluegill. You got other kind of bait working under that mat. Every now and again, if there's big fish around, you'll see them little guys pop up through the grass in an escape maneuver, and they look like this, right?
Yeah.
So I like to have colors that have red, gold, purple flake in them, kind of bluegill. Like, I mean, black and blue is a good bluegill color, but they are too. I'll put a little orange or chartreuse spike it on them. Crawfish, you look around those mats or the thick grass. A lot of times, if you're quiet and stealthy, you'll see the crawfish walking around. You'll see what color they are. I mean, a lot of times they're like, you know, natural looking, green pumpkins, blues. But sometimes they're fire engine red.
I've seen it.
So have a couple packs of red with you. You don't need you need this color.
Or red dye.
You need a green pumpkin. You need a dark. You know, you need a light. But you need them. These things catch fish in those situations. Now,
what other kind of baits do we like to throw?
Hardcover and grass. Yeah. So now we need something flappy. We need to ratchet it up a notch. So now we're going to get into some of our tried and true favorites. Rage crawl.
Great flipping bait.
Structure bug. I'll show you what a structure bug looks like.
Love that structure bug.
Now you're starting to get into the real flippy flappy.
It's got the structure bug has the rage tails on it, so it really flips when it goes down. Not so much good for heavy cover. It's more.
I like these clamp packs too. It keeps the tail straight.
It's more clump grass, Nick, or timber or docks. You know, you don't want to fish out in the real matted stuff.
But you know, these kind of baits give you the kick as they're sinking. They give you the
a lot of action on them.
Okay, they're also dynamite jig trailers. So rage crawl, structure bug, killer bait, chigger crawl, which is a big flappy-eared crawl bait.
I think you can open it.
I think you all know what chigger crawls look like. I can't get this package open.
They know what it looks like.
But chigger crawl.
Yep.
Turbo crawl. If you're catching tons of fish, the problem with flipping these plastics, depending on the hook and which we're going to talk about, and it almost doesn't matter which hook,
Yeah.
you go through a pile of plastics.
Tear stuff
Which is
up.
not a bad problem.
Yeah, you tear it up. I mean,
it's not a bad problem, but that guy
all day long.
all day.
All day.
And this is called a turbo crawl.
Lots of great action to it. Just got to make sure you split the tails in half. I made that mistake for a second.
Those are some of our favorites.
If you're really catching them, you're dealing with a lot, or even practicing, or you're catching just a lot of fish, go with those.
Z crawl. These are some of our favorites. And and the crawl styles are interchangeable. The creature styles are interchangeable.
See, that's a good punching bait right there. That's nice and thin. Goes right through the grass real easy.
So they're also good jig trailers, so you can multitask with your baits, right?
Yeah, some of them are good jig trailers. Yep, for sure.
All of them.
So, the big thing about this, you got these great baits, you got all this kind, and George didn't say about the brush hog as your flappiest, craziest thing. But you got to rig them properly. There's a lot of question about rigging these things, and you got to be able to rig these baits properly. Otherwise, number one, you don't get a good hook set, and number two, you tear your bait all up all the time. So you got to be able to rig it up right, or your bait just never gets to where the fish are. So, what George is going to show you here is the proper for pitching and flipping, how you're going to rig up your baits with your hook and your weight, and what to do with it so that your bait is constantly in perfect position and your hook is in perfect position and you can get the hook set right. But the brush hog, Nick, the brush hog is one of those baits where if you want that extreme movement, the brush hog is a great. I used a medium, that new medium size one, or the baby brush hog for my flipping. I don't use the big brush hog as much for flipping, but the baby in the mid size, I really that new mid size is fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, there's almost no limit to the bait you can flip. I mean, Sankos, worms, it just goes on and on and on. We just wanted to pick a few baits, talk about stuff that's real special to us. So, which hook are we going to use? Are we going to use a straight shank hook, or are we going to use a wide gap hook? So, my feelings on this, if it's tournament day and the money's on the line, I'm straight shank all day long. But I will say this. EWG ain't too bad. So today's day and age, hooks, I mean, it's getting kind of crazy out there with the brands, and they're all good. I mean, they're all good. If you go down our hook aisle, I mean, Hayabusa, VMC, Mustad, Gamakatsu, Owner, Trokar, BKK. Where do you stop? So try to keep in mind the bait that you're fishing. Try not to hang up on the brand. They're all good. But think about that diameter of that hook. This is not a place, and I'll give you a prime example with the EWG style. This is what's called a super line. It's a little thicker wire. And if you look at that flipping hook, it's pretty similar. This is not a place to buy a light wire hook, by no means.
No.
So EWG, Superline, straight shank.
Anytime you're getting that heavy action, that medium heavy, action, and especially braid, period. You don't even mess with those thin wire hooks. But once you get above medium heavy, you got to really start looking at your hooks.
You do.
Really got to start looking at them.
So some of you might think that this is kind of basic and, whatever. But one of the number one questions or point of confusion that we have is with putting a sinker stop / bobber stop on the line to peg a weight. You cannot imagine. And if you are with this, we're about to show you.
Yeah. So this is how you would peg your weight onto your line.
So these are sinker stops. They're bobber stops. They're rubber pegs. You can squeeze them. They're on a keeper. These are wire loops. There's a little loop in the end there. Okay?
Can't hardly see it, Nick.
That's the transfer.
I'm telling you, I had a hell of a time getting my line through that hole.
So that's going to be how you get the bobber stop from the line. You can see it's through that loop, right?
I don't know how you got through that loop, bro.
Now I'm going to take this bobber stop. And I'm on my line. Okay? Now I'm going to put my bullet weight on. One thing in flipping, there's like 900 tungsten weight companies out there, and they all have a better price than the next guy. One thing in flipping, when you're using a heavy weight, if the inside of that weight is not polished and smooth, one of the reasons that I will not use anything under 65 braid when I'm matting is because the inside of that sinker will rub that line eventually through.
It really will.
And it'll break.
It really will.
Okay? So on your heavier weights, buy a good sinker. I like the Rains because they have a insert. There's actually a little tube inserted in there, so my line's not touching the tungsten.
That's right, on plastic, so it's not going to hurt your line.
Now I'm going to tie my hook on, and I like to use a Snell knot.
Wow, you're going to go there?
And I'm going to show you why. When I'm pitching and flipping, especially if the money's on the line, I'm going to come down. Always go on the point side of the hook. I'm going to come down through there. Sorry, Nick. I'm just gonna make a simple loop on one side of my hook. I'm gonna take my tag end. Now, I got a keeper here. See the keeper? I need to get my knot in front of that keeper. And I'm just simply gonna take this tag end. Try not to stick this hook in my hand. Try not to drop my loop. All the things I just did. Got my loop. Got my tag end. I'm going to go through the loop and around the hook shank in front of the keeper. Through the loop, around the hook shank, in front of the keeper. And so on. And I'm actually stacking these wraps up so they kind of look like a hangman's noose. And so on. And so on. About 5-6 times. Remember, this is heavier line, right? 18 shooter, 16 sniper, 65 braid. Now I'm going to moisten that up real good. I'm going to pull the main line. See the loop tightening down? You can actually feel it click. And you'll see how nice and stacked up those wraps are. Try to get that out of the way so you can see them. Now, trim it. Peg it. And the real reason for the snell knot is the direct line of pull on the hook shank. And you've all seen the demonstration where you set the hook. Instead of doing it into my hand, I'd like to do it for the camera. You set the hook and the hook kicks up. Again, the thumb. Set the hook. Hook kicks up, right? Now, do you have to snell? No. Do you like a Palomar? Feel free. You can also snell wide gaps. You're going to snell it right there. You know, there's
But the important thing is to make sure that you peg your weight with your. That's really super important because you know when you throw in the cover, you got to have that stopper there to keep the sinker with the bait. It has to be with the bait.
On a big heavy weight, I put 2 on.
Yeah, ounce and a half, 2 ounces. The weight gets so heavy it pushes it out of the way.
If I have to use 2 ounces, I go somewhere else.
I don't know,
but I have had to do that already.
Yeah.
So that is the snell knot versus the Palomar knot versus the straight shank versus the wide gap. You know, there's some keys there. The diameter of the wire of the hook is very important. You know, you could buy some of these flipping hooks that are like gaffs. And, you know, you got to understand those hooks were built for extreme heavy cover, extreme big fish, extreme heavy rods.
Yeah.
You know, something has to give.
Yeah.
The braid doesn't give. The rod doesn't give. The hook is what gives. So, you know, a hook like this, which is a Mustad Grip Pin Max, which is about a 3X hook, it's going to hold up to like 99% of the fish you catch.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's kind of the hook, the line, the rod, the terminal, the bait.
Dave Schiller says, "Bring back the HP."
Yeah. Yeah, he loves that Kale style hook, doesn't he? He does.
Okay.
What do you got for me, Nick, before we move on to some other flipping and pitching?
Oh, I'm good. I mean, I think the most important thing was showing that snell knot. I think I'm a firm believer.
Are you a sneller?
Yeah, and it's because when I fished with that guy in Florida, I mean, he just showed me how your hookup ratios just went up using that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think for heavy cover, it's a must thing. You know, when you're fishing docks and stuff like that, you can get away with it offset, you know,
Good point.
Wide gap. But for heavy cover, I think the snell is absolutely the way the deal.
I like to snell on game day. I'm snelling.
Yeah.
That's just all there is to it.
So we got the rod. You got the rod that you guys need to have. You got the lines that you need to
couple rods
that you need to do. You're right. A couple of rods,
couple lines,
and then you know the reel. How you know the high gear ratio reel that you want to use. Then we showed you some baits that are pretty typical of what that we throw, but it's unlimited. You know, we started grabbing and we're like, oh wait, where do you stop? You know,
when the boat's full.
We didn't even get into the worming, you know, the flipping the Senko, flipping the, you know, a ribbon tail worm, flipping, you know,
post spawn and grass fish, flipping a 10-inch worm.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we didn't even talk about that, but that's all things you could do also. So
I got some questions.
Yeah.
So I would like to know if there's anything you guys do that's in the pitching and flipping world that's just a little different.
A little different.
I got one.
I do something different than you all the time.
I'm being serious now.
I am too. I throw in there and catch them.
Okay. What about you, Nick?
All right. So, you know, I like to use, you know, you had all your baits you like. I like a speed crawl. And one of the reasons is it's small. So I think when you use a heavier weight with that speed crawl, it falls faster. And I think that reaction bite is just the deal. I don't know.
What about your hook?
I'm using the straight hook like you're using there.
What do you like? Whose do you like?
I like Gamakatsu, but I also do like the Hayabusa. I've been using them because they also have a thinner flipping hook, and so does Gamakatsu. I forget what it's called, but it's a finesse flip hook.
FPP.
Yeah, and I really like that too for lighter weights, things like that.
So my aha moment came in a BFL tournament, and it was the dream scenario for me, except for nobody told the fish. And I had a very high pressure area. I put them to bed like a turkey hunter would put gobblers on the roost. It was crazy. I couldn't wait to get. I was boat 2. I couldn't wait to get there. I got there, and the bite was dead. And these were all big fish. They were 3s, 4s, and 5s. And I was so desperate. I looked down on the floor of my boat, and laying on the floor of my boat was about a half a tore up 5-inch black Senko. Now I was flipping a tube, which is one of my high percentage spawn season baits, green pumpkin, blue tail tube. I was flipping a beaver. I was flipping a jig. We didn't even talk about flipping jigs. It was all pitching, And I looked at that Senko and I thought, flip a drop shot with a wacky rig Senko. And I took I'm not sure how heavy the weight was. I'm thinking 3/8. Put it on a leader about that big. I didn't know what hook to use. This was a long time ago. I wasn't sure what hook to use. So I took a 3/0 Superline wide gap, tied up a drop shot, hooked the Senko on it, and proceeded to lose back-to-back 5-pounders. And, but the point was, there was no possible way to get bit. And the second I rigged that, so, they call it power shotting, kerplunking, dobbing.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now,
big time,
flipping a wacky rig or a Texas rig, drop shot, short leader in thick cover is deadly, particularly any time around the spawn and particularly on high pressure areas such as hard cover, boat docks,
Tokyo rig,
walls.
That's where the Tokyo rig came from.
What have you. And it works big time.
Yeah.
So that's mine.
Yeah.
Yours is yours is speed crawl, and yours is just catching them.
I catch them.
Okay.
There was one where I can't take credit for because you brought it up before, George. People always talked about different color weights. That was something?
So I fished a Toyota Series tournament on the Potomac that Bobby Lane won. And it was a tough bite. A very tough bite. And we were punching. Bobby Lane talked about shining his weights. So he took his weights and scraped all the paint off of them and got them nice and shiny silver. And he started a trend because he obviously won the Toyota Series event. And I got to admit, I was in that tournament. I was in the creek with him.
Yeah.
I fished all around him. Guess what? I went there. So yeah, it's a great point you make. Anything else, Mike?
Yeah, I have
Flipping and pitching wise?
No.
Let me look at my notes.
I think we covered it pretty good.
Well, I mean, we covered it as good as you can cover it in a short session, but we wanted to hit on, things that are important to us.
Yeah, and I think you
can talk about flipping and pitching forever.
Yeah, I think it just brings it to light to people who maybe just were kind of like I used to do it, but now I don't. This is important. This is one way of catching a lot of fish, man. And pitching is just a cast, really. Pitching's a cast, an accurate cast. So, and the practice of that really needs to be done to become that great caster. Will catch you some big fish. I'm telling you, it's a technique that I was opened up. It opened my eyes big time. So you definitely want to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Have any questions? Make sure you call us. Give us a call. Stop in. Email us some questions. We'll help try to answer the best we can. But get out there and start practicing your pitching, because that's really gonna be a big deal for you. So we got a special guest here real quick. I want to bring in Go-Go Gomez in here to give me that speaker there.
Come on in here, Go-Go.
Come on, Go-Go. Go-Go stopped in. He's up here fishing the tournament. Here you go, Go-Go. Hold.
Come on in here, buddy.
How you doing, buddy?
We go back a ways, don't we?
This is Go-Go Gomez, and you guys heard us talk about him a million times on here. And Go-Go Gomez for family, kids and family, for kids and family, and the dedication you have towards kids is amazing. The things you've done in the years that I've known you, which is probably around 10 years now, is amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing.
Before that, his beard was black back when you first met him.
Absolutely amazing. So tell us about what you do and some of the things you're doing, and just explain the whole thing to us.
Yes, how we all doing? I'd like to thank you guys for having me here today.
Yeah.
So my name is Go-Go Gomez for kids and family. So what I've been doing for the past, let's say, one of my towns, 17 years, I volunteer my time for kids, inner city kids. I mean, New Jersey Federation, New York TBF, Susquehanna, Tackle Shop Live. Everyone donates so many things for me to give to those kids that are in need. So sometimes I can be at a pond anywhere fishing. A kid will be there. He might throw him with a can or different ways. And I would just come and make sure you talk to the parents before you give them something. And I would give them a rod and reel through their parents. And I'm blessed. Thank the Lord.
I bet you that blows those kids away when they get that.
Oh, yes. Believe me.
That would be so cool to be able to just walk around and give away fishing tackle to kids.
I met a bunch of people in your club too. It's Great Falls Bassmasters.
Yes, correct.
And you guys do like a bunch of these events.
Yeah, definitely. We do.
I mean, think about the work it takes.
Yes.
Like 6, 7 of them, right?
Yes. So right now, like this Saturday, I have the first kids tournament. So I'll be there working with those kids, donating stuff. Each kid that volunteers gets medals donated from Go-Go Gomez for kids and family that were donated from all my sponsors and my sporting sponsors. Then after that, I have to come straight up here real quick to Susquehanna because the Legends have their tournament, and I have baskets for every kid there. That thanks to all of you that donate to Go-Go Gomez for kids and family, I'm able to give them something. And then other clubs.
How about our listeners? I mean, how about our listeners and how about our customers? How much stuff that
so these guys who follow this show bring all this stuff in here.
They're the guys who brought this stuff in.
I hope you got some room in your truck because there's a pile of it back there.
How about it? I mean, that kind of dedication to the kids is from you, and then they see what you're doing, and that's why they bring it in. They bring it in because they know that they can give it to you and it's going to go somewhere great, and
maybe turn a kid on to a lifetime of fishing.
Absolutely,
which kind of stems them away from other options.
Huge thing. And
I think it's safe to say that Go-Go and his crew are doing some fine work out there.
Oh, unbelievable! Unbelievable.
We don't get a chance to recognize these people enough.
No, never.
Ever.
And Go-Go's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here to pick up the merchandise. But like I said, if it isn't for all you that donate to me and the kids, I mean, you got to see it behind my truck. It says putting smiles on their faces. I mean,
Yeah.
It's just when I autograph a hat, anything you give them, even if it's a used bait, used rods that I've been giving rods, reels.
It's awesome.
Donated from everyone to go Music Fair. The kids are smiling happy, even when they first catch the first sunny, and then you see the following year. I have kids. Give you an example. I have kids that are in college when I first started volunteering with my name on a hat, and they come from Syracuse. I have this one young lady from Syracuse every year. Comes to the kids contest and
helping out
and helps out,
helps out.
You know, and that's what it's
See,
all
it's
about.
full circle.
You know,
That's full circle.
Surprised.
That's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, it's a big deal, Go-Go. And, we're glad you stopped by tonight while we were on the air and we could get you on the show. Want to thank you in person. And
how many times have we mentioned his name on this show? All the time.
Yeah.
And how long you been helping us out with all this stuff?
So long. I mean, since day one. I mean,
what's your trademark saying in here?
Everything must go. Remember, when you're walking through the door, everything's on sale. Just don't say go said it, but no, don't say that. But like I said, everything must go.
Everything must go. Go Gomez.
Well, thank you much, Go, and thank you all your crew and your club that do all that. They're very impressive, and
it is. It really is.
Well, boys, we've run the clock out. We're gonna have to put this bad boy to bed.
Well, thanks, Go Gomez. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by Tackle Shop Live, and we'll be back. Don't forget Sunday, SummerSlam. Now, if you guys
we still got openings.
If you guys aren't fishing the tournament, you can come down and watch, and just come down and be in the crowd and hang out and watch the weigh-in because it's a lot of fun.
It is
a lot of fun.
And also, I'll be there. Thank the Lord this time to participate. And if you have any things, bring it all down. Let's load the truck up and give it all away.
Yeah.
Yep.
So don't forget,
amen.
Everything must go. Come see Nick, the crew. God bless you all. And thank you guys for having me here. I appreciate all you that donate to Go Gomez for kids and family.
Thanks, Go.
There you go, Gomez. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys on the next Tackle Shop Live.
Sunny day, right there you took my breath away. Young and pretty, was it just a dream? The next day you called me up, you told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down, knowing how you're blue. Soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair and your beautiful smile. Your sense of humor makes it all worthwhile. Don't make me wait.